I wasn't really aware of a mass breakout of crime all over Washington, D.C., uh, outside of the White House. But that was a cheap shot. So what is going on, Dan? Why is this happening, and what do you make of it?
So yeah, I would like to think that I am still remaining consistent with my views that there should be more local and statewide control when it comes to bringing in federal forces. But at the same time, we're looking at Washington D.C., where it does become much more of a presidential or executive need to do these sorts of operations. That said, I do have mixed feelings about what is happening here, especially what people are saying, how this might go out to expand to places like New York or Chicago and other places where we're seeing these incidents of violent crime. Again, a lot of the critics of this are pointing to statistics about how crime is at a low point. I question that. There is growing concern about the incidence of crime. So I don't know if these statistics are based on a lack of prosecutions, a lack of reporting, but the more and more anecdotal evidence that I see walking down the streets of Washington, D.C., talking to colleagues who live and work here, it is certainly a time where people are growing more and more afraid of just being out and about, going about their daily lives.
Now,
And so,
let me just pull you up a
go ahead.
second there. You said concern, people are growing concerned or worried, which isn't actually crime, is it? It's a
Well, again,
feeling.
I mean, the thing is, I mean, there is out of again, this is anecdotal, but out of 7 people that I talked to yesterday in one particular office, every single one of them had a story to tell about how one of their friends had been mugged, how someone had been shot, and we're talking innocent people. So again, this fear is real due to incidents that are being highly publicized. And
Mm.
again, I think that we're seeing, more and more events that where parents are asking to have control taken of these youth who are running around, again, taking the law into their own hands, pulling guns, robbing people, carjackings, and things like that. Again, the elements of crime, again, while they're being reported at a low, I question that because, again, these incidents are still very, very high. And when you're looking at the murder rates and things like that, I mean, DC is competitive with a lot larger places. And we're only looking at 10 square miles here, and we've got a lot more murders per capita than most other places around the globe. So there is a reason to start to bring about law and order to the country and to the district. But at the same time, I do wish that the mayor and the city council had been able to take this type of control and have this type of incident wrapped up. I mean, even the mayor herself has been saying that she would love to see 500 or more police officers on her staff. They're short staffed. They need more help. And so if this is something that can even be, at least quietly welcomed by some DC leaders, then this could be a great way to bring about more safety and security. Again, I do wish that it was handled locally, but at the same time, I'm glad that it's at least being handled.
Just to do the figures at all-time 30-year low on violent crime and robberies. They're probably still high, though. Of course, and of course, you mentioned anecdotally, you mentioned people that were
Right.
robbed or mugged or whatever. But is that anything out of the ordinary for a city like Washington, D.C.? And does it warrant federalizing and doing the Home Rule Act and federalizing the police forces?
Well, it certainly should be out of the ordinary. I mean, the fact of the matter is that that robberies and violent crime should be rare. And again, this 30-year low, again, I am skeptical of this reporting and of this figure simply because I think that there's been a lack of prosecutions, there's been a lack of reporting, and these crimes are still happening. And what is happening is that the folks, when they are being caught, they're being released very quickly by prosecutors who are not necessarily prosecuting these crimes, and they're allowing repeat offenders to come back out again. So again, this 30-year low figure, I think, is one that I wouldn't be but so confident in. But that said, there needs to be efforts to clean up Washington D.C. And certainly other places throughout the United States. But
I'll
again, I
bring
mean, this
Justin in now. We kept
needs to be done.
losing him, but I'll bring him in. Of course, you keep
Sure.
saying that doubting the figures, but of course, whether the figures are right or wrong, of course there is crime. But is it an emergency that requires a change to the usual law and order? Justin Thomas Russell has joined us. The Attorney General Brian Schwalb has said there is no crime emergency, and Dan has given us anecdotal evidence that you can hardly leave his office in Washington, D.C. Without a crime. What do you think? What's your take on this?
Well, it's good to see you, Mark. And the reality is, this is so out of the ordinary. On top of the fact that this is going to violate an entire set of laws, whether we're talking about posse comitatus by bringing in the National Guard against the will of the commander-in-chief in D.C., the mayor of D.C. It violates several constitutional amendments. Let's get the legal side out of it. The numbers don't show what the president was talking about yesterday. I did hear Dan, as I was coming back in, talking about, questioning the numbers. It's good to question the numbers, but the numbers are real. The numbers are brought out by the Bureau of Justice Statistics out of the Department of Justice. And so the question is, are the numbers that everybody's questioning, particularly in Trump supporters, are they going to question the numbers that are coming out of their own Department of Justice? I've been a resident of the National Capital Region, both in the District of Columbia and in the surrounding areas in Arlington. I am in the District of Columbia every day, and I got to tell you something. Is there crime? Of course there's crime. It's a major urban city. Is it being dealt with? Yes. As somebody who has been not only a resident of D.C., but also a former law enforcement officer, there's always going to be a way to do it better. But it is not the drastic cesspool that Donald Trump made it out to be yesterday in his announcement. This is jazz hands. This is kabuki dance that Donald Trump is doing, whether it is trying to offset Epstein, whether it is trying to
well, that's what I thought, but that would have been like a few weeks ago. If this had come out a few weeks ago, you'd have gone, well, obviously he's trying to change the narrative. But that narrative has kind of quietened down a bit. This came from nowhere, really.
Right. Well, again, it is something, we don't put it past this administration. Look, there are things I support the Trump administration on. Of course I do. There are also things that I am very critical of, some of them foreign policy especially, but even the domestic policy like this does not make sense, and it sends a bad message both domestically and internationally. And it's not a good optic. Crime is down 24. Violent crime is down 24% to its lowest rates in years. We are seeing a drastic reduction in homicides. So, are there ways that they can improve? Yeah, cashless bail is probably a subject that they need to tackle. There are certain aspects of the criminal justice system, as the DC Police Union pointed out the other day. But make no mistake about it, is federalizing the Metropolitan Police Department in Washington, D.C. is uncalled for, and it's overdramatic.